I think the most important recent innovation within photography and filmmaking may not be what you expect. I personally don't think it's the new mirrorless cameras that have crazy autofocus and megapixel counts, nor do I think it's the premium compact cameras like the Fuji X106. I think the most important innovation within the last several years has come to lighting, specifically LED cob lights. And I have one of these newer LED lights made by Hobolite. This is the Avant 100-watt bicolor light. How's it going, everyone? My name is Brian. I'm a photographer and videographer based in Brooklyn, and my journey as a solo videographer has always been troubled trying to find a balance between gear that had the power and capabilities versus being portable, considering that I would usually work as a 1 or 2 person team. So I think individuals and specifically content creators will be really excited to hear about the Hobolite Avant 100-watt bicolor light. Just for disclosure, Hobolite did send me this light. I did not get to keep it. They don't get to change or filter anything that I say in my review. And I do have a lot of compliments, but that doesn't mean I don't have a list of criticisms for this whole thing. The Hobolite Avant is a 100-watt LED bicolor light ranging from 2700 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin. It's rated at 96 plus CRI, so a good color rendition index rating there. It's got a peak lumen rating of 8500 lumens at 6500 Kelvin and 6000 lumens for 2700 Kelvin. The Avant is constructed with aircraft-grade aluminum and uses faux vegan leather for the sides for a nice retro look. It's got a high-quality colored LCD display on the rear with easy-to-use menus and full dimming control from 0% to 100% power and color temperature. It contains fans with a vented heat dissipation form factor with the intake on the bottom and the exhaust on the top, and the fans can be turned off if capturing any essential audio. It was only until last year that I really heard of Hobolite, and so I had to do some research to figure out what this company is. They've only been around for a couple years. Now, what's really interesting is that even though it may seem like their products are directly competing with brands like Aperture, Zhiyun, SmallRig, and Kolber, I think they're trying to actually dig into their own niche within lighting with something that I've never seen before in terms of luxury aesthetic light fixtures. I know that sounds weird, but they're trying to pivot into something similar to how Leica has really gotten a stronghold for a camera that emphasizes user experience over just the utility. And I think it's a smart move considering how saturated the LED space is right now for budget filmmakers. Let's talk a little bit about the build of the Hobolite Avant itself. So all the controls are on the rear of the light fixture. You have your power button here. So that'll power on the light. You got 2 dials here, and if you click them, they go in increments of 25%. So you can see here, this goes from 2700 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin. One thing I really like about this dial is that it lets you make minute adjustments. So you go to 0%, it's fully off. If you go to 1%, you can see it actually makes changes in intensity when you go from 1% to the next. There are some cheaper LEDs where from 0 to 10 or it's exactly the same intensity, but it only changes really once you get to higher levels. But this one actually changes in intensity with the minute adjustments like this. So in order to go back to this main screen, you have your home button. And then here, our second button here is your effects. If you click into here, you'll see things like flash. You'll see things like flame, screen, lightning. You just need to use the color temperature dial to go to the next screen. You have things like pulse, fireworks, shutter to simulate, paparazzi, and then explosion. So these are the default ones that are on this light fixture right now. If you go to the third button, this will show your settings, your setup. You can see you can turn off Bluetooth on or off. For the app, you see that there's a fan option, and this is where you can turn off the fan if you're getting audio for an interview. Your language, and then your about is your firmware edition. This is what I'm really curious about because I'm wondering if you can add more effects rather than just these 8. that maybe there's a future firmware update happening down the road. And then your final button here is your lock button. This will turn off the rear display so that light doesn't spill on the rest of your scene if you have multiple fixtures. If you touch the dial though, it does reactivate. This does not fully lock unless you hold and then it fully locks. So just a reminder, make sure you see the icon right here that'll pop up. That's locked. If you just tap, that just means the display is off. You can see the bottom here is your power, and then on here is your safety lock for your power cable, so it doesn't come right off. And you can see at the top of the fixture is your exhaust vent, which is huge. On the rear, you have your V-mount accessory with your regular screw for light stands or for your tripod plates. This is your intake. If you look on the front, you have your 45-degree Fresnel lens, which will intensify the light. And if you want to switch that out for any accessories, you just hold the unlock button here, twist, and it comes right off. And this is not a mini bones mount right here, even though it does look like it. Hobolite never calls this anything else. So if you want to get other accessories, you need to get their bones mount adapter. And in order to attach things, you just click it right back in. So if you want to remotely control your Hobolite light fixture, just hold onto the power button. We can turn on and control the light. As you can see, you'll need to register your device here. And you can change the intensity right in the app and the color temperature. You can also access the effects menu here. So you can play the flash, say you want to do lightning remotely, or pulse, fireworks, all of that I can do within the app. Stuff that there. You can also turn off the fan or turn on the fan remotely. You can also power it off, but in order to power it back on, you do need to physically touch the power button and hold it on the light fixture itself. And you can put it to sleep and wake it up again. If you need to find out which light is which, say if you have like 5 of these lights set up and you're like, oh no, which one am I setting up in this group or scene? You can press the call button and it will start blinking a little bit so you know which one is which. So the cool thing is that if you don't have the app loaded up or the app is hidden away on your phone and not on the main screen, you can actually use the NFC tab to open. If I just tap here, it says Hobolite NFC tag, and then the app opens up again. So I'll show you again. Just tap, just like you're tapping someone else's phone if you're airdropping on iPhones. And again, it opens right back up. So I think that's a very cool function. If you're just kind of lazy, you just want to open up the app and you don't want to go searching your phone, just hold it right here. And again, it's really fast. It's impressive. Now let's go to the box. This carrying case comes with every Avant that you order, whether you get the more expensive creator kit or just the basic kit. And it's really nice fabric with, the faux leather handles and zippers. So let's jump into this. All right, so now we have our Hobolite carry case. Let's open this up. You see it's got a nice mold to protect all the accessories and the light itself. All right, so we have our light here. Put that off to the side. All right, the first thing we're going to go to is the power bank, or the power supply, I mean. It's got a little V-mount attachment. You have your D-tapped to DC cable with a nice little safety screw here. Got your power cable underneath. You have the handle, which is amazing. This is how you're going to mainly want to attach your light stand to the grip to the light with a V-mount lock on here. You tighten it just like this. And it also comes with a little hole for an umbrella diffuser. Next up, we have our barn doors. So the barn doors come with a diffuser, and this is actually magnetic, so you can add attachments like this and they won't fall out. And the cool thing is that they actually give you different sorts of color gels in here. So you have your honeycomb grid for controlling any light spills. In here you have your CTB, CTO, little diffusers. You can only put one in at a time, so they'll stick like this. And you cannot stack them to combine colors. This also comes with a manual inside here and a shoulder strap if you're just carrying this light around with you, which is kind of nice. It attaches to the eyelets on the side of the carry case. Now underneath the barn doors, it's exciting, is another power solution. This is Hobolite's V-mount battery, and I kind of wish the texture on here was similar to their actual light fixture with the faux leather here. But I think the reasoning for not having any extra attachment here is that it's IP54 rated, which is really interesting. It's got 95 watt hours. It's got your regular old D-tap. It's got USB-C out 5 volt and DC in 20 volt. Kind of wish it had USB-C in. You cannot charge this battery via USB-C. You have to attach this to the power bank, to the power cord to charge the battery. So that's a little annoying. And it's not a small V-mount battery. And I'll compare this in size to my small rig. And then finally, our final accessory is another exciting one, is our clamp. This will attach to most light stands and C-stands. And so you can either rig your light directly, you can use this to hang your V-mount battery so it's just not dangling off to the side, or your power bank. Any V-mount accessory will fit in here. And so you can just attach like so. You'll see it locked in, and you just hold that to release. And then it also has a nifty little screw here for any attachments. It's got a little screw. So that was the carrying case and accessories that comes directly with the light. But the kit that Hobolite did send me was called the Creator Kit, which is the most expensive version at $1,400. And it also comes with 2 accessories, the carbon fiber light stand and a mini softbox. My most favorite accessory in this entire kit has to be Hobolite's premium carbon fiber light stand. It has a tripod form factor that's easy to set up. It's incredibly light, but still sturdy. You know, if you're anyone like me, you know how easy plastic, flimsy aluminum light stands from somewhere like Amazon can be. So it's nice that they included something so sturdy. It comes within its own nice fabric carrying case that you can use to protect the carbon fiber light stand. The next accessory that I wasn't so excited about was the mini softbox that came with this. I think there's nothing specifically wrong with the softbox, but I think setting up was kind of annoying. Once you add your diffuser and your grid, in order to lock the softbox into the opening position, you needed to rip off the fabric, your grid and your diffuser to lock into place. And so if you're keeping your grid and diffuser fabric like I do, every time you take it out, you have to rip open the top and then lock in again and then place it back in. I think a lot of softboxes where you can set up from the rear, clicking everything into place, that's my preferred way to set up softboxes. I really dislike the way that you have to rip open any fabric that you have in the front in order to lock it into place and then Velcro it back. So now let's talk about the criticisms that I have for the Hobolite Avant. So the first criticism that I have is the weatherproofing of the Avant. And I'm not talking about in terms of being completely water and dust proof. The build of the Avant, which has the intake on the bottom and the exhaust on the top really exposes the internal circuitry to the elements. So if you're on an on-set location, there might be some dust or a little bit of moisture in the air. You know, most lights should be able to handle that, but because of how exposed the internals are for this light, I wouldn't really risk it. My second complaint is the connections or power charging capabilities of the system. So the Hobolite Avant can only be charged via DC cable. It cannot be charged via USB-C like some other brands. I would have liked to see the light being able to be charged USB-C, you know, if you're in a pinch, and at least you could use a light maybe at half capacity. Also, the V-mount battery cannot be charged via USB-C. It can only be charged by the included D-tap cable and the power brick. So this is a little annoying because my small rig smart battery, V-mount battery, does come with the ability to charge via USB-C. And this is really nice when you're traveling and you don't want to bring a ton of different cables with you. And again, if you're in a pinch, it's really nice that you can charge it via USB-C. My third complaint is the accessories. Not that they're poorly made, but the price of these accessories is very similar to Leica. So if you're getting into the system, you better be really committed and budget for buying stuff like the Bones mount adapter or the light stands or the little small things that you might not think about when you just buy the light itself. And this transitions nicely into my fourth point, which is the price, which is probably what most people will complain about the Hobolite system. But for me, I think that Hobolite never really pitches itself as like a budget-friendly light, right? It's not going to be something like Small Rig or Kolber or Zhiyun, where they have products made for the budget filmmaker. So if you're just starting out, say you're just out of film school, or you want to buy like a 3-light setup, I don't know if I would go straight to Hobolite. So you're probably wondering, even if I could afford this, why would I buy it when I could buy more lights? I think the strength of this light in the system being, you know, really easy and simple to use, but still powerful is a huge strength. You know, as a small example, about 10 years ago, when I was starting out doing corporate gigs, I would always have to work solo. But I had 5 bags of like cheap Amazon light stands and tripods and boom arms and cameras and my own audio equipment. And so when I would go on site inside, say, like an office to do some interviews and film B-roll, I would be extremely stressed and anxious the entire time because everything I had took ages to set up. The quality of the things were so cheap. Say like a light stand would be like Boeing, as I had my giant Godox SL60W, which I actually think I still have. 10 years ago, I had to use 2 or 3 of these things. Look how massive this light fixture is compared to this. This you cannot control with an app. It came with a plastic Bluetooth remote, which I completely lost. There's no V-mount battery option. It's just you can only plug it into the wall. You know, the display is super small. These are heavy. Traveling with 3 of these things was such a pain, and I was afraid these things falling on clients or interviewees, these breaking, you know, during travel. So it is really nice that we've gotten to the point where something like this, which, you know, you click a button or you use your phone to turn it off to adjust lighting. I think we're at a point where this almost feels like magic, and I'm so glad this exists over something like this. You know, because of my anxiety dealing with like really clunky gear in the past and having something as straightforward, easy to use as the Hobolite system that also looks as good, you know, I'm pretty happy with my 30 days using this, and I wish I could keep this longer because I have a couple portrait sessions coming up. I think if you haven't heard of Hobolite before, you should really try out the products. Try to rent them or go to a store like B&H in New York. I think they're really going to make a splash this year with some products that they're going to release. If you have any thoughts about this brand or light at all, you know, leave any comments below, or if you've used the brand or lights itself. Thank you so much for watching.